Avenue Radio. The Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle, empowering communities and changing lives. The Urban League has been there to serve when our community is at its lowest. It's never mattered what the crisis was. The systemic oppression remains constant for those most vulnerable. Here at the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle, we'll be temporarily adjusting our hours of operation and available services. If you are in need of resources, we recommend that you give us a call at 206-461-3792. To make an appointment, press 0 and speak with the receptionist. Walk-in hours will be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. And hey, we'll gladly work with you via phone as best as we can if you're exhibiting any signs of illness to assist you with information to save your home, find you a place to sleep, or connect you to job opportunities. The Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle. That's 206-461-3792.
Hello, listener. What's important to you about what's going on in your community? Are you interested? Are you concerned? In any case, I invite you to tune into my show, Seattle Here and Now, on Rainier Avenue Radio App. Why? I will be covering a wide range of topics important to you and impacting the community. Each show will have a special guest or guests to share with you information on a variety of subjects that are happening here and now in Seattle. I promise I will work hard to make my show informative, interesting, and entertaining. Be sure to listen to Seattle Here and Now on Rainier Avenue Radio World.
My name is BK, International Talent Scout. I'm bringing a brand new show to you called BK Presents. 30 minutes, non-stop, your favorite in gospel music studio sessions. Going deep into interviews with your favorite artists, producers, and their engineers. You and your music. Concert previews and concert reviews. Get it all on bkpresents.com.
Here we go. Do you want to represent your city? This year, you can. Seattle residents who are interested in running for office in 2021 can use democracy vouchers to fund their campaigns for the positions of mayor, city council, and city attorney. The city of Seattle offers one-on-one training for candidates at any stage. Learn more about how to run for office by visiting seattle.gov/democracy voucher or by calling 206-727-8855.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not translating the lyrics of Boogie Oogie Oogie for bored Europeans, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World.
Good morning and welcome to Rainier Avenue Radio World. It's me, Tony B. And this is Thursday. It's day 4 for us. Day 3 of actually sessions happening, but things officially got kicked off on Monday, and we started telling you about what was going on. And Jess and Jen were on the show. We had a chance to talk, and it's the BSK Best Starts for Kids Summit 2021. Greetings to all the BSK champions and summit attendees. Welcome back again. Just a number of different things that have been going on over the course of the last few days. And right after I'm off the air, Jess and Jen are going to give you an update about what's going on today so that you know. Now, you can always just go to Hoover and check out what's going on there. Are you ready? Are you ready for today? I'm going to bring our guest here on a second. For those of you who are tuning in and you were listening to Star Time and you're going, the mix is generally on right now. We're interrupting our regularly programming because we're having this special summit from Best Starts for Kids. So I'll give you a little bit of information about Best Starts for Kids. Their vision is they want every child and family in King County to be happy, healthy, safe, and thriving. Best Starts for Kids builds on strengths of families and communities so that babies are born healthy, children thrive, establish a strong foundation for life, and young people grow into happy, healthy adults. Best Starts for Kids is considered to be the most comprehensive approach to child development in the nation. Best Starts invests an average of $65 million per year to support King County families and children from the time that parents plan for a family throughout childhood and young adulthood. And I have a very special guest joining me, Mr. Jerry Blackburn, Executive Director with Influence to Choice Drug Prevention Alliance. Jerry, how are you doing this morning?
I am well. How are you, my friend? Great to meet you.
Great to meet you too. You know, Jerry, under the circumstances, I am fantastic. I'm fantastic.
That's excellent. Yeah, it's not easy for our communities right now. So thanks for sharing all this wonderful information.
So, Jerry, are you ready? You ready for today?
I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
Now, before we get started, I started playing this little game yesterday, just to get everybody ready to go and everyone awakened. I don't know if you watched the show yesterday morning. If you did, fine. If you didn't, that's fine too. So, did you watch the show yesterday morning? Because
I did not have a chance. I got all the links so I can catch on them.
All right. Well, this is how it works. We're giving away a huge cash sum, just a gigantic, monumental amount of money, and you're going to have the chance to win it. All right.
Wow.
All you're going to have to do is finish a phrase for me. And yesterday they couldn't do it, so the amount of money doubled. And you're going to win the double bucket of money today. And if you don't win it today, we're going to do it again tomorrow. It's going to roll over and double again.
All right.
Yeah. All you have to do is finish the phrase that I'm about to say. But I'm sure right now, for those of you who are listening and weren't listening yesterday, you want to know, how much money is it? For those of you who listened yesterday, you already know. So I got to ask our money guy, because it takes a money guy to handle this type of money that we're talking about here. And so when we started yesterday, we had money and it doubled. But to go back and just kind of review, money guy, we started off with a huge cash jackpot yesterday, and it doubled. But what was it yesterday?
It was 1 cent.
Oh my gosh. So it rolls over today, and the amount of money we're playing for today is
2 cents.
All right, Jerry, don't get nervous.
There's a lot of math. There's a lot of math going on.
And if you don't get the answer right today, it's going to roll over and double again. And tomorrow, let me give him some time because I know this takes some time to get these calculations together. What's jackpot going to be worth tomorrow?
4 cents.
Wow. Okay, Jerry. So yes. Now I'll give you a hint. It's about old school hip hop. I don't know if that's your thing or not. Doesn't matter whether you get it right or whether you get it wrong, but we're going to give it a shot here. And recently, I'll give you an even bigger hint. The artist that this phrase comes from passed away recently, and so we're just kind of honoring it. Now, here goes the phrase. I'm going to need to get the answer from you to finish this phrase. Here we go. Stop what you're doing. I'm about to ruin. What is the next line that comes, Jerry?
I know the artist because he recently passed, sadly, but I don't know the lyric. The next person's going to have that opportunity. They're going to get the double cash.
Okay, then it's going to roll over again tomorrow. Thanks for playing, Jerry. The cool thing about it is it rolls over tomorrow and the last day of this summit, and I was hoping we'd get to this point. We're going to have a cash jackpot of, what is that amount again, money guy?
4 cents.
Oh. Welcome to Best Starts for Kids Summit. Everybody get ready. Jerry, really looking forward to this conversation with you this
Absolutely.
morning. And I will tell you, just so that you can be prepared, before the show is over, I'm going to be asking you which sessions in particular you've enjoyed so far, or that you're looking for today, tomorrow, whatever that is. We'll get into that, but I just wanted to give you some time to think about it. Again, Influence the Choice Drug Prevention Alliance for Youth. Jerry, let's start off by finding more about your background and who you are, and then we're going to talk about other things. But give us some background information on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So I transplanted to Seattle from the East Coast. I'm from Philadelphia originally. And so I moved out here, and it was really a life change for me. I'm a person in long-term recovery from substance use disorders. And so when I moved out here, I was looking for a career change, and I needed to do something different with my life. And I got into behavioral health care, and found, as a person in recovery, that I had the opportunity to return to school because I had those skills now, and recovery afforded me all kinds of social opportunities that I couldn't grasp before, and started working in the field. I've been in the field since about 1999, doing a variety of services, from working at a residential hospital for adolescents with substance use disorders to intervention prevention work, and I've just been blessed with so many opportunities. I'm also an adjunct faculty member at Bellevue College's substance use disorder prevention education program. So I got to not only go through their program some 25 years ago, but then also return to teach there, which is just, again, I'm just so blessed. And for the last 10 years, I've been associated with Influence the Choice. Influence the Choice started about 2010. We worked real hard to get a drug-free communities grant from the federal government. And we've been managing that and some other funding sources to work in our community to not only reduce substance use among our young people, but support their mental, physical, and social wellness, making sure we're taking care of the whole child. So when you think about Best Starts for Kids, I mean, the missions align so well, because that's what we're looking to do: create healthy kids and healthy communities so that our young people can just navigate all the terrain they experience, right? Working way upstream. So that our kids are safe and comfortable and confident and connected with community, and all the stuff that kind of seems to be missing about now. So I've been working as a volunteer for this organization since its inception, and then just recently, about 2 years ago, had the opportunity to apply to become the executive director and start taking it even further in support of, again, our young people.
Wow. Well, you know what, Jerry, let me start this off by saying, man, congratulations to you, bro. That's an awesome story. That's an awesome story. I think this particular interview, I'm probably going to shut it down, and I'm just going to let you talk.
No, bring the questions. We need questions.
Let's find out about Influence the Choice Drug Prevention Alliance for Youth. Tell us about what that is, what you do, how it works, who you serve.
Sure. Absolutely. So because of the grant and the stipulations for our drug-free communities grant, we had to pick an area. And so I work in my hometown of Issaquah-Sammamish. We engage what's called environmental strategies of change, right? Like, substance use prevention used to just be all about scare tactics and worst case scenarios, right? We'll have mock car crashes and just, information specific to like what a kid's going to experience when they end up making the decision to smoke some weed, and then all of a sudden they're living on the streets, and that's not the scenario for the majority of kids. Like, it doesn't work like that. And so prevention messages really kind of were counterproductive in terms of helping young people be successful. And so what we do is engaging in strategies that not only provide information, like here's accurate information, here's the science, here's what you need to know, but also here are all the other things that get wrapped around you so you're going to be successful, right? So if you're in a neighborhood with lots of opportunities for kids to, steal alcohol from stores and just do those beer runs and stuff like that, that's a risk factor. So how do we shut that down, right? Access barriers. How do we provide support mechanisms for young people so that they don't feel, one of the most frustrating things for me recently, I've been kind of toying with, is the idea of asking for help takes courage. And I started to think about that. I was like, why does it shouldn't take courage. It just should be a normal part of who we are, to reach out to another brother or sister and say, you know what, I need some help. I need a hand. I need a leg up for a minute, and not feel shame based on those things. So providing kids opportunities to connect with caring adults and communities in a way that they feel holistically supported, right? So they have everything around them that they need. Working with policy in terms of, instead of kids getting involved in the judicial justice system and then paying fines and having to do whatever, support them to access services and get involved in the treatment process or an education process so that they're more skilled. They have what they need to be successful. And so when you take a data point, whatever it is, like kids vaping, which is a huge epidemic, or kids using cannabis, right? And surround it with all of these environmental change strategies, the outcomes are inevitable, right? We have kids who are more successful because they are surrounded by strategies that change their trajectory. And so that's what we aspire to do, right? It's not just about providing information in the community. It's about supporting young people to make sure that they have the skills to do something with that information, right? Like if you give kids accurate information about what psychoactive chemicals do in the central nervous system, and they have no capacity to stand up to, their own peers and say, this is not for me. I'm not down with this. This is not my trajectory. This is not who I want to be. That information is useless. And so we really need to kind of get past the idea that just providing kids with these scare tactics or these worst case scenario bits of information is going to change how they roll, because it doesn't. And so we employ those kinds of strategies. We have several different conferences we put on, and those are put on by our youth board. We're a very youth-driven organization. They lead the way, and we just walk behind them and go, what do you need? How can you make this happen? Like, what can we get you to do that, right? A lot of organizations have youth as part of their structures, but they don't have a seat at the table. Our kids have a seat at the table. They are the table, right? We give them everything they need so that they can put on the youth ownership conferences. We really try to get away from the idea of leadership too, because I think that word kind of, starts to entitle kids. It's really more about ownership. Like, this is your community. What do you want it to look like? How can we help you make that change? And so, we aspire to start to change the systems, right? We know that any kid who's not part of the dominant structure, right, is going to be impacted more significantly. They have less access to resources. Things aren't in their language. There's so many things that we can do to transcend the normal engagement and help kids feel a part of again, and see what comes from those outcomes, which we know they do better, right? That's what Best Starts for Kids is grounded in, is helping kids across that continuum. And so we really try to make that happen.
My guest, again, is Jerry Blackburn, Executive Director with Influence of Choice, Drug Prevention Alliance. You said a number of things there. When you talked about scare tactics, I don't know if you remember this, Jerry. I mean, you probably do, but do you remember this commercial where there was a frying pan? And,
mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's old school.
And so for anybody who is pre-cell phone, you remember this, but you may not earlier. You may not now. So it was a frying pan, and then they'd say this is your brain, and then they break an egg and it would hit sizzling frying pan, and then they would say, and this is your brain on drugs.
Exactly. This is your brain on drugs.
Now, it didn't really tell you very much, about what was going on, but it was a clear scare tactic. But this was something that was mainstream media,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And so those are the messages that we're getting. I say that to say, to lead to another question, but because we're going to come back to that. But tell me more about this youth board. And you talk about the youth board not just having they're at the table, they're at the table, they're making decisions. Tell me more about the youth board, the youth who are involved, how you become part of this, how the youth who were on the board were selected to be part of the board, what type of commitment to make. I know that's like 6 questions, but
that's a lot. That's all right. That's a great question. So our youth board is called TECH, Teens Encouraging Community Health, and they work as our organization does in terms of a functional coalition. So my partner in prevention, Katie Moeller, is our special projects coordinator, and she manages our kids in terms of the work that they do. And so there's an application process. And so we put that on our website, and it allows the kids to take some responsibility, to get some skin in the game, to have to work a little bit to have that accomplishment. We encounter kids in the community because of the events that we put on. And so they're like, oh, this is kind of cool. And so the application process is available to them. And then they come on board, and they meet weekly or bi-weekly to create all of the opportunities that we provide our young people. Just recently, we closed down our Influence the Choice video contest. So the kids put together, our students in the school district put together PSAs, and we give them prompts, and then we have a judging contest and a prize contest. And this year we're supporting other organizations in our community by donating some of the prize money to our food bank and one of our clothing banks. And so just, again, getting kids connected in the community with positive things to do. The group, again, just because we had this virtual capability, we've actually seen an increase in participation because the younger kids, middle school and high school kids, don't necessarily have to rely on transportation, and they can get to the meetings more rapidly. And so they're just invested. They see opportunities to, again, to own the solutions in their community and support other youth in a positive way. And they're just amazing. Again, like, when you hit the pillow at night and you know that you're kind of part of supporting a group like that, it's pretty easy to sleep. Yeah.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. It's me, Tony B. It's Best Starts for Kids, the conference, the summit, taking place all week. We're at again, I'm calling it day 4, day 3 of sessions, but we kicked this off on Monday. And my guest joining me is Jerry Blackburn, the executive director of Influence the Choice Drug Prevention Alliance for Youth. Jerry, if you don't know, now you know. We have open, honest, frank conversation on this show. It is what it is, and I want to make sure that I get that I'm not offending you when I say now. Do you call yourself a recovering addict? Do you call yourself that?
I do. I came up, as many did, October, I'll be 28 years of active recovery. And I, oddly enough, use different terminology when I'm thinking and talking about myself, because as somebody who, is a member of a 12-step recovery group like Narcotics Anonymous, I refer to myself as an addict because that term doesn't mean the same thing to us as it does in the community. But in the community, that term holds a lot of stigma. I don't even like the word stigma anymore, actually, Tony. I'm just going to go with discrimination, because it's really not, it's not on the onus shouldn't be on the individual. It should be on the community. Individuals who have a substance use disorder or mental health condition are really in subgroups that are discriminated against, right? If society deems that you should be able to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and be more successful just because everybody else around you is, you're being discriminated against, because healthcare conditions should be managed from a healthcare standpoint, right? We see injustices in the judicial justice system specific to individuals who are arrested for drug possession, and we're trying to make changes to that system. So I refer to myself as a person in long-term recovery to the general public, because it changes the verbiage that we use. It changes the dynamics in the community to understand it as a healthcare condition. The DSM-5, the terminology that we use nowadays is substance use disorder, where we used to use the word dependence a lot, and that had a connotation in our community. But a lot of our structures are still coming up to speed so that we have better conversations in our community of understanding substance use disorders and mental health conditions as an issue related to healthcare, not willpower, not choice, not desire. I have yet to, in 28 years, ever met a recovering person who wanted the history that they acquired as a result of their condition. And I've also never met a recovering person who isn't doing things in their community and demonstrating their gratitude and making amends socially, because that's just part of who we become. Gratitude should be an action. And if it's not, then it's just, somebody telling us how wonderful everything's going. And that doesn't help other people, right? So individuals in recovery kind of have a mandate to carry that message into the community. And part of that message is changing the language that we use. So it's a complex reality. When somebody says, I'm a recovering addict, to me, that's a level. Back in Philadelphia, we always used to use the terms love and respect. Like when you found another person in recovery, that's the sentiments that you shared with that term. And that's not how the general population understands that term. So it's kind of like one of those mechanisms where we took that term back. And lots of different.
I'm going to stop you there for a second, Jerry. Yeah. I'm sorry, but we're almost out of time. And this is just a great conversation. So again, I'm referencing back to that commercial. This is your brain on drugs, the Friday, which told you nothing. But was just so. I'm going to use these $25 words here. Do you have qualitative information about? Because we're talking about kids here. We're talking about kids, and that's why I appreciate you sharing your story. That you can share about the threat that this is in communities and why. And I know that's a big picture, but. If we're talking, you talked about perception. If these things are around you, all right. If they're what you see, if sometimes it's what you aspire to because of the hopeless situation that you're in. If you're freeing yourself up by doing this because the outside pressure of other things is giving you some escape. Yeah. Do you have quantitative information to describe what type of threat this is in certain communities that we can talk about, that you can share with us right now? And unfortunately, we've only got a couple of minutes left, but I think this is pretty important.
Yeah, let's do it. Absolutely. So most school districts can check and look at their healthy use survey data. Healthy use survey is a survey for 6th, 8th, and 10th and 12th graders every 2 years. We postponed it for COVID, but it's coming back out in 2021. So you can look at substance use and behavioral struggles and data about your school district, and you can narrow it down all the way to the school if your school participated and makes that information available. So you can look at the reality of substance use and then target those realities from a prevention standpoint, a best practice standpoint. The other thing that we do is, changing our community so that young people aren't running into circumstances where they believe, and young people do have an inaccurate perception of how frequently their peers are using substances. That's just part of them. They're more susceptible to marketing. They're more susceptible to misinformation. And so we want to give them accurate information, because the majority of young people don't use substances ever. Right? That's just a statistical reality. But when I was working in treatment, anytime I'd roll up with a kid, they'd be like, do you understand? Everybody at my school gets high. And of course, as counselors, we're like, everybody. That's a lot of kids, everybody. Right? And then so you start to look at it and challenge it a little bit, and they go, well, not everybody, but so everybody that you're hanging out with, because you have started to struggle with that reality. So populations who are involved in constant, trauma circumstances where their communities are impacted in a negative way, they're just more susceptible, right? Like you said, that's a great word to use for relief, and that's a trauma response. The other big risk factor is genetics, for folks who are genetically predisposed. When they consume a substance socially, at that first time, there's just a higher likelihood that they're going to have a struggle, because they're just prone to that, physiologically. And so, that's a great point. I love that word.
Jerry, I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to have this conversation. I wish we had more time. I might just have to bring you back on Rainier Avenue Radio so we can further this conversation and bring some of those kids up as well.
Let's do it again.
So we can really, get down and talk about this as a real issue. I'm almost out of time here, man. So what I was going to ask you, what you're looking forward to. Now, do you have a session coming up? Did it happen already?
I don't have a session. A lot of the opportunities that we had to come on your show were folks who submitted proposals, and there were just so many great proposals that not all of them made it. So I am not speaking at the conference.
We're gonna do something, man. We're gonna make something happen. I gotta. But before we go, and I gotta cut you short here, but really quickly.
Okay.
What are you looking for? As I have so many questions, what are you looking forward to during the summit? What have you participated in so far that you've just been like, wow, I'm glad I was here. I'm glad I got this information, or what you're looking forward to coming up?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at the schedule for today, but I gravitate towards anything that looks at the connections that we can make in community, right? Like you and I are having this conversation, and those conversations lead to connections, and our kids are lacking those kinds of connections, giving them opportunities to be part of something larger than themselves, part of community. Our kids in school today get credit for community service. And I'm just like, then that's not service. That's a job if you're getting paid. So having our kids get back to a place where they're looking and connecting in community and being, filling up their hearts with really, really positive things, I think is an amazing opportunity.
Again, Jerry, and I apologize. I appreciate you sharing. Jess and Jen are waiting in the wings to come on and tell you about today. Jerry, let's do this again. Let's have a deeper conversation.
Absolutely.
Appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
And don't forget that tomorrow the pot rolls over, it doubles, and it's going to be worth 4 cents. So this is exciting. We're gonna have to figure out how to give this away tomorrow. That's it. That's all the time that I have. That's going to do it for the kid. Remember, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you are probably right. I'm out. Peace.